Hello, and welcome back to the Write Your Path podcast. My name is Lolly Spindler. I'm a writer, editor, book doula, and writing coach. And today on the podcast, we have my friend Tess Richardson, who is an incredible gut coach. And she really focuses on the brain-gut connection, how to have a healthy lifestyle based on focusing on what's happening in our gut. And I can speak from experience here because she has helped me, and especially living in Mexico City, I've definitely had my fair share of gut issues. So welcome to the show, Tess.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, of course. So if you could just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and how you ended up on this podcast with me in Mexico City.
Yes. So I am from the US. I'm from New Jersey, and I've been living in Mexico for the past off and on for 10 years, and I met Lolly, I think, 2 years ago, maybe, yeah.
I think that's right.
2 years ago, and yeah, I mean, basically, I came here for work, and then I fell in love with it, and I've been here ever since, but one of the biggest things that always kind of pushes me away is the health aspect of Mexico City and how hard it is on our health, especially our digestive system.
Yep.
And so I have a push-pull with Mexico City. So I'm now doing a few months here and then leaving for a few months and then coming back. But I am based here.
So how did you end up here? What kind of brought you here in the first place, and why did you stay?
I was modeling in New York, and there was an agency. I was with IMG in New York, and they, in the off seasons, there's not as much work, so they send you to other markets, and this was the market they sent me to when I was 18.
Wow.
And so I came, and I just kept coming every year because I worked really well here in the off season. And then I just fell in love with it, and I just kept coming back, and then I decided to do full-time 5 years ago, and my practice is anywhere, so I decided to just be here, and then now I have a huge client base here as well, so I got to expand my practice here, so it feels like home now.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And what was it that kind of triggered you to make the transition from full-time modeling into this business for gut coaching?
Yeah, so modeling is really tough on your health and mental health in general. And so basically I had been told to lose weight since I started at 16. I started at 14 modeling, but they started to tell me to lose weight at 16. And
Wow.
So it developed into obviously a lot of disordered eating, even eating disorders. And I basically destroyed my body for like 8 years.
Damn.
Over exercising, like running 7 miles a day on the treadmill, like 7 days a week, no rest, doing Barry's boot camp every single day, doing all the exercises, eating, it was probably like 800 to 1,000 calories a day.
Damn. Like
nothing. And they still kept telling me I had to lose weight. They would measure me every time I would come into the office.
Oh my God.
It was pretty brutal as a 16 to 23 or 24 year old. It's like the most developmental time of your life.
Yep.
You're just getting told that you are
not enough,
not
good. Yeah,
literally, like objectively. And just being measured, and that being like a cow, and being
like a piece of meat,
and being like, you are 1 inch too big. So I did that for so long that I got to a point where I had completely destroyed my gut. I was in Mexico, and I got some parasite or something, and it took me out to the point where I passed out, and I hit my head, and my body couldn't handle things anymore. I was so depleted, destroyed, and I just remember being in that moment and being like, okay, this is really bad. Like, I'm obviously very sick. I was in the ER all the time, and just like really not because of Mexico City. Back in the day, there was no sanitation here. Like, it wasn't. Now there's a little bit better. So anyway, I basically both my agencies dropped me at the same time because like I just couldn't handle modeling anymore, and I took it as a sign to not continue destroying myself. And as soon as I stopped, I started basically just eating whatever because I had restricted myself as long as I could remember. So I remember eating bread for the first time, and I was like eating all of this food. And I mean, obviously I'd eaten bread, but it was like just eating for the first time. and I gained 20 pounds or like 10 kilos, and but I was the happiest I ever been. But my entire body I went into like a diabetic state. I had
Holy
insulin
shit.
resistance at like 50. My all my levels came back like horrible, because at that time I then moved into basically the only thing that I had known was health, or not health, but like how to biohack your health, because I was trying for so long to biohack myself to be skinnier. But so I had researched all of this stuff, and so I was like, well, this is all I know coming out of this. So I moved to LA, and I basically just walked into Bulletproof Upgrade Labs and was like, hey, I'm super passionate about this. I have no training in anything. Can you give me a job?
Wow.
And
I love that.
they gave me a job as a front desk person, and then I worked my way up all the way to like trainer, and then almost to manager, but then the pandemic shut it down. But basically they did labs on us, and my health was in the worst state possible. And I just found these labs like 6 months ago. Somewhere, like I found them hidden somewhere, and I realized how bad my health was at that point. But because I basically had destroyed everything, and then I went to the complete opposite, where I was eating everything. So you're putting like all of these different types of foods into a system that doesn't work. And so then I had horrible bloating. My face was so swollen all the time. I had like acne all the time. I was just gained so much weight. And for me, it's not natural to be 20 pounds heavier. For me is like, I've never had that. So like for me, but I was honestly the happiest I'd ever been, because I was just like, I don't care if I could, I don't care if I have to gain 40 pounds, whatever, I will never go on a diet again. And so then everything came back into balance, obviously. And then I realized, of course, I have these major gut issues since before I was modeling, since I was a baby. I found out that my mom recently that she only breastfed me for like 6 weeks, and then then I was formula fed, which impacts so much of the gut. I was bloated and just my entire childhood. So there were all of these issues. And so once I went into the health world, I was like, okay, it's time to focus on these and actually fix this, and not just, overcompensate for the damage I was doing.
Yeah. So where did you find that like happy middle ground? Because you would bounce from one side of the spectrum to the other. So what were like the things, I'm sure this first like job helped you put things into perspective, but what were like the first things you did to try to kind of find that like happy middle ground?
I think I remember the first time I realized that I wasn't thinking about food anymore, which was one of the most liberating moments, because I was like, wow, I'm forgetting to eat, and like I'm not over obsessing over every single calorie or every single food that I'm eating. I had basically found a passion outside. Like I had basically completely found a passion outside of like exercise and diet and just like these better things. And I started seeing my body more as this more of like, instead of calories in, calories out, it's more of systems. And in the biohacking world, there's so many tools to understand deeper parts of the body and things like this. So I think the balance came from me understanding the body way better than just weight, and being like, health has nothing to do with weight. So at Bulletproof, we were looking at cellular health. We were looking at how to recover faster, how to recover like everything on a cellular level. So I realized it has nothing to do with fat. Like, that's not actually anything to do with weight. It's actually the cellular inflammation, the cellular health, like repairing on a cellular level, NAD, all of this stuff. So I kind of took off this pressure of weight, and it was more, okay, nerding out about what is actually, like what are the inflammatory mechanisms and all of these things. So I think it kind of just was a refocusing of how I saw myself and how I saw my health. But yeah, that pretty much brought me back into balance, because then I stopped obsessing over specific diets or specific exercises or whatever, and I was like, what do I actually need to be healthy and strong? And then I stopped obsessing, because then I was just like, okay, these are the things that kind of I need to feel better. And so I started incorporating that. But I never have ever since then put pressure on myself to be look a certain way or eat a certain way. It's more coming back into tune with how I feel and intuition, and like when I eat something, how does it feel? Looking at markers, looking at different things, instead of being, you can only eat 800 calories a day and that's healthy and that's it.
So if someone wanted to kind of shift their focus from a focus of health in relation to weight to a shift in health in relation to cellular health, like where would they start? How do they find that information?
I think it's focusing more on your symptoms rather than your weight. So what a lot of people do is they come to me and they say, I have belly fat or I am a little overweight. But when we dig into it, they actually just feel super swollen, super inflamed. They have headaches all the time. They're super tired after eating. They're getting bloated every single time they eat. So yes, they feel uncomfortable with their weight, but in reality, they feel uncomfortable in their body. And their body is just not functioning. Because there are a lot of people who are totally fine at a weight because they feel healthy and they feel strong, and it has nothing to do with the weight. It's because when you have excess weight, a lot of times it's not a natural feeling because you're in a swollen or inflamed state and your body is not working. And so we perceive it as excess weight, but in reality it's the body not functioning properly. So what I would say is, instead of focusing on, I have to lose 5 kilos, I would start noticing, wow, when I eat, this certain thing, I feel super inflamed in my stomach, or I feel like my arm, after, I don't know, just after this day, after a lot of stress, I feel super swollen in my arms, or I have this weird like weight gain in my back. What is that? Just noticing symptoms that have nothing to do with losing 5 pounds, I can't lose weight. No, are your muscles growing? Are your bowel movements consistent? Are you bloating after every single time you eat? Because normally, if we can remove all of that, then your body will come back into a balanced weight that feels good for it. But right now, potentially, your body doesn't feel safe. And so it's inflamed and you're feeling the more of the symptoms than the actual weight, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So what would you say to those people if they are noticing these symptoms, like headaches, like bloating, irregular bowel movements? What would be like the first piece of advice you would give them?
Well, the first thing that I do is I do a very in-depth symptom mapping assessment, because gut testing is a little interesting because our gut changes so frequently based on what you're eating. And so I look at more symptoms when it comes to that. So I do a symptom assessment that basically gives me 16 different markers of the body that's free, because I just want to see what's going on. And 6 to 8 of those are for the gut. So I can see, do you potentially have low stomach acid? Do you potentially have inflammation in the leaky gut? But if you're not doing that, what I would start with is looking into, so I wouldn't do too much testing on the gut. What I would do is start with 2 things. So start with opening your detox pathways, so that's your liver and your gut, and then start working on leaky gut. So the majority of people I have some sort of leaky gut, which is basically our modern day society. We have so many substances and foods and things that our body can't process correctly, our gut lining can't process, and our gut lining is only 1 cell thick, so it's very, very, very thin. And so when you eat gluten, when you drink alcohol, when you take medications, when you have a lot of stress, it breaks down that gut lining. And so then we get literal holes in our gut lining. And then every single time we eat, there are little food particles and toxins that are escaping our gut. And that goes into our entire body. And that's the last thing that we want, is toxins and food to be in our bloodstream. And that causes inflammation in your entire body. So I would start with just basically, trying to heal leaky gut, which is not that difficult, but it does take some maneuvering. But I would focus there first. And then once you have that, then I would focus on, the bacterias and things like that. But when it comes to the gut, it can be very intricate. So it's not hard to fix, but what it is you have to identify what is going on, because there's like 5 different parts of the gut that if any one of those parts is not working, so let's say you don't have enough stomach acid, or your bacteria is overgrowing, or you don't have enough enzyme function, any one of those is going to throw off the rest of it. So you really have to identify what stage, and gut testing and blood testing are not going to really give you that. So you really have to do like a symptom analysis to see, hey, what is going on in those parts. But I would definitely start with leaky gut because most people have some level of it.
Yeah, especially with the amount of like processed foods we eat in today's modern society.
Yeah, and we're exposed to 80,000 toxins on a regular basis, which is 400 times what our ancestors, like what our grandparents were exposed to. And those,
great.
Yeah, they go they go to many places in our body, and they love to get stored there. And it's and our gut is one of the places that they have to get processed. So.
And what are some of these like environmental toxins that people are exposed to?
Yeah. Well, in Mexico City, I mean, already, it's just the air.
We're another level.
It's another level. But for a lot of people, it's a lot of the toxins in our beauty products. It's a lot of the toxins in our cookware. It's in our clothes. It's the plastics, when you're drinking from a plastic water bottle. Those plastics are made of fossil fuels. Like they're made of gases and stuff. So if those things are in your body, now they're breaking down into those toxins in your body, and we can't even get them out. Air pollution is a huge one. Obviously, our water has a lot of it's in every single aspect of our lives, and it's not good to be super highly obsessive about it, because stress is probably the worst thing that you can do. But it's important to know that it is impacting you. And so it's like minimizing as much as possible, but also supporting the systems of your body to be able to detox better. Because everyone says, well, our liver detoxes naturally. Okay, it detoxes naturally when it was only detoxing food and water and soil or whatever. It was detoxing 100 years ago when we had barely any chemicals or anything in the body. So now we have to support it because it gets highly congested very easily, especially from things like birth control is a huge one. Medications, NSAIDs, like antibiotics, alcohol, of course. But alcohol used to be the biggest thing, but now we have, oh my God, so many things that we have to decongest. So yeah, I would say the biggest pollutants, especially in Mexico, is going to be the air, and it has a lot of lead. It has industrial toxins. I've seen a lot of people have uranium, which is, I know, that has come back on a lot of blood tests or mineral analysis. So you can do like a hair mineral analysis. It's called an HTMA test, and you can see which minerals and which toxins are unbalanced in your body. But there's a lot in the air. Aluminum is a huge one.
Wow.
Mercury is obviously a huge one. So those are the ones that I see with my clients.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Mm.
Yeah. But the one thing I would say, I will just add to this, is that if you are living in a polluted environment, taking binders is going to be really important. Even if you just take activated charcoal, or you take zeolite, or you just take something very simple, just helping your body to bind those toxins to get them out of the body will help so much. Even just activated charcoal, just taking activated charcoal can really, really help.
Like once a day?
Yeah, just once a day. You can take in the morning or at night, just anytime with a lot of water. That can just help to start like absorbing and those like magnetizing those toxins. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And so once people are able to go through this process of healing leaky gut and detoxing, what are some of the signs of improvement that you see personally and with your clients? Yeah,
my clients, it's funny because so it depends on the severity, right? So sometimes it takes a long time, sometimes it takes a short time, but a lot of times, you know when your gut isn't working properly. If you notice your gut, it's usually not working properly. If you notice that it's bloating, if you notice that you're constipated, if you notice that there's pain, if you notice that every time you eat, it's like super inflamed. So when those symptoms have gone down, because it's usually a daily basis. So most of my clients, it takes about 2 weeks with the protocol. It depends on the severity, again, because some people have really bad bacterial overgrowth and things like that. But for a normal version of just like leaky gut that's been impacted by toxins, basically your energy goes up very quickly and your inflammation goes down very quickly. So your entire body inflammation goes down. So that's the first thing people say is like, my entire swelling in my body goes down, because now these particles are not escaping your gut anymore and not going into your entire bloodstream and causing this inflammation. Now they're like staying in your gut. So that's the first thing, is inflammation in your entire body goes down. The second thing obviously is bloating goes down after you eat. And then the third thing is just having way more energy, because now you're actually absorbing your foods. So when we have leaky gut, instead of absorbing our foods, they escape. And so we're not able, the absorption goes down by a high percentage, like 40 to 50%. So if you're eating all the right things and you're like, wait, but I still feel awful, I feel really tired, it's probably because your gut just literally can't absorb what you're eating. So those are the three main things. And then after that, they'll just be like, wow, I have this one client, he's actually just a friend, and he had a belly that was like really, really big, and he was working out all the time and he was eating it perfectly. And I put him on this thing, and I just left it. I was like, okay, like it was a friend, so I was like, okay, just try this. And then 3 months later, or not 3 months later, literally it's been, maybe 3 months, and he sends me a picture and his stomach is flat, and he had like a belly that it couldn't go down. But it's because, this is just the core of most people's like issues when it comes to their stomach, is just that, if you have a stomach that's open, like your gut lining is open, nothing else will work. So you'll just start noticing that everything becomes tighter, your clothes fit better, the inflammation in your entire body goes down. It's really, really powerful. So I always start there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And with the gut-brain connection, what are some of like the neurological benefits that happen?
It's huge. It's huge. So when we have leaky gut, when gluten particles or when toxins escape the gut lining, they go into our bloodstream and they can go into our brain, right? So they pass the blood-brain barrier and they go into our brain, and we've found that there's a lot of links between leaky gut and neurodegeneration or brain fog. And so you'll see that people will have a lot of brain fog and a lot of tiredness and just not be able to think optimally. And then we fix their leaky gut and it's basically goes away. They just tell me that they can focus again, they can think again, because imagine everything you're eating is escaping and it's now in your bloodstream. And so we do have the blood-brain barrier, but it's not strong enough to basically, hold out everything. And also when it comes to gluten, we know that gluten is highly toxic for the brain and highly inflammatory, and it can pass the blood-brain barrier. And so then you're having all these neurological issues and just not being able to think straight, even things like not even ADD in the sense of what we think, but just not being able to focus and feeling kind of like your brain isn't working anymore. A lot of times it's just because there are things infiltrating it and causing inflammation. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
I did not know gluten had such an effect.
Gluten, glucogen, it's huge. It's really impactful in the body. That's why eating sourdough, or you don't have to go full gluten-free. You just have to be careful with how much and try to get the highest quality possible. So sourdough, or eating it in ways that have been fermented or processed in a different way, not just white bread, because that's absolutely the worst for your gut and your brain. Yeah. They call it, there's a book called Grain Brain, if you want to learn more about it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah.
Oh, great.
So fun.
But that also has to do with how highly processed those 100%. Grains are now too.
Yeah, 100%. And the pesticides that they use on it. Yeah. All of it is really, it's not fun. And you'll feel it though. Most people feel after they eat bread, they feel the symptoms of it, but because your body has adapted so much, and maybe that's how you feel all the time, so you're kind of like, okay, it's not that big a deal. But once we get their body back into a new baseline, and really help them to heal this, once they eat bread again or they eat something, it's such a big jump. Wow. Because obviously your body can handle it a bit better, but their body basically fully rejects it, and so you'll feel they no longer have to say, I don't eat bread. It's more like, I don't want to eat bread, because it really truly feels awful in the body. But if you're used to it, then you're not really seeing that big jump.
I recently had that happen to my friend Sarah, where I don't know why originally she went gluten-free for like a time. I can't really remember, but she did. And then afterwards, she like tried to reincorporate it, and she just was like,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Like, I cannot. Like, she had
Yeah.
lost a ton of weight. She felt so much better. She's like,
Yeah.
now my household is completely gluten free. Like, there's no gluten even allowed in my house.
Yeah, and it sucks because like obviously we used to, there are ancient practices of sprouting, fermenting. You know, most cultures don't just eat bread like it is, you know, it's like, it's just like soaking beans here. Like people don't just eat beans. It's because they know there's these ancient practices or ancestral practices that used to be used, which is making sourdough, like fermenting it for 16 hours. Like the pizza we had the other night is fermented for 16 hours. And so you feel fine, and that's why people also, and the quality of the grains as well, if they're sprayed with pesticides and GMOs, also that's going to impact the body. So I'm someone that never cuts out an entire food group. I'm never someone, but I always tell my clients, let's find the highest quality of this food. So if you want chocolate, okay, chocolate is not bad, but the way that they do chocolate is bad, right? Like Hershey's and all this stuff. So we have to find what is the highest quality. Can we find an organic cacao with like monk fruit? Can we, you know, use it in this way? If you want bread, let's try Ezekiel, let's try sourdough, let's try, you know, something else, so that you don't feel like you're restricted, but you're eating, like if you want yogurts, okay, oikos is going to cause a lot of mucal like issues and inflammation because of the quality of it, but a local yogurt, you can feel the difference instantly. It's insane.
And I like that your programs aren't restrictive, because I feel like that is such like something that people are just like, no, I'm not going to do it. You know, it's a deal breaker for a lot of people if it's like cut out this entire like group of foods, and it's like, no, but I like that. So why would I want?
But this goes back to 8 years of restriction. I will
That's
never
true.
do that
That's
to
true.
anyone.
Yeah.
This is why my practice is always, how can we find, you know, if you love granola, we'll find a granola for you. If you love whatever, it's, I can't do that to someone because that was done to me for so many years, and it's just, it's also not necessary. So it's kind of like, there's so many nutritionists that will just cut out everything, but then and you'll feel better for sure. But then your life will suck. You're actually not healing the root of it. You're just taking out the triggers, and then you actually get nowhere, and then you're stuck on a diet for a long time, and then you feel like you can never eat anything ever again. But you feel better. So it's this weird thing. But what I do is I more say, okay, let's actually heal the systems that are causing these symptoms, and also use foods that are high quality, which you can find. It just takes a tiny bit of effort. Like you have to. But then once you get those rhythms, like I ate oikos the other day, and I got an entire, like within 15 minutes, my entire nose was filled with mucus.
Whoa.
And I felt like just really, really congested. And then it went away 30 minutes later. And then, so my body is so attuned now that I know when something's not working. And then I eat the other yogurts, the local yogurts, and they're fine. So I feel fine. So
And I feel like it's so nice too, because a lot of those local and organic products are so much more accessible now. Whereas before, if you think about like the 90s, when everything was so processed, like that would have been, well, like a much higher investment financially, but also of time to try to find them.
We're so lucky now that we have the options. Obviously, it can be more expensive, but at the end of the day, I mean, once you find your things that work for you, it's so much easier, because then you can say, okay, this, and this. And that's what I help people to find, is become a master of, and a nerd. I become a nerd of your body for my 6-week intensives. I'm like, I'm going to be a nerd, and we're going to figure out what are the foods that work for you, what doesn't, what needs healing, blah, 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 blah. So that you have this masterpiece of like, okay, I know that this exact yogurt works, this exact granola, this one doesn't, so that you can just have those things. That's no diet is gonna tell you, okay, you know, this specific thing. You can't just do a keto diet for the rest of your life. You need to find what works for you, and then do that for the long term, instead of just following a random diet that you have no idea if it works.
And so another part of this is supplements, because I know you're a fan. So if people are taking supplements, or if they don't even know where to start, what would be like your recommendations for everyone to start like healing their gut with supplements? What would those be?
So I would say before you take any supplements, you have to heal the gut first, because you could be, I had this client who was taking even testosterone supplementation, or it's testosterone, basically patches, injections, and he was like, it's just not working, nothing's working. And I was like, well, I think, your gut is probably not able to absorb anything.
Yeah.
So let's work on that. So we worked on that, and within 5 days, his muscles started growing again.
Oh, that's insane.
Because it's insane. And he was like, your coaching is better than steroids. Because
that should be your new marketing campaign.
I know. And it's
better
because
than steroids.
Better than steroids. But because his gut was literally not absorbing all of the supplementation, all of the external testosterone he was taking, nothing worked. So you might as well not take supplements until you know that your gut is working. So for leaky gut, basically the protocols are very short term because it doesn't take that long. But one of the biggest things that I love is colostrum, which right now is kind of like a trending thing. But at the end of the day, it comes from mother's milk, so it's our first food. So if you're breastfed, then you basically get colostrum from your mom, and colostrum is our guts when we're little or when we're babies are more open, and colostrum comes in and it basically puts this lining. So it basically builds the gut lining in your gut. And cows naturally produce it, and so now we can, take it from cows, and they do it in an ethical way most of the time. You have to find ones that are ethical where it doesn't take it from, obviously, the baby. But you can now take it supplementally, so we do that same process again, right? So, and I've done a lot of formulations with colostrum and without colostrum, and it always works better with it. But what I would say is there's many different things, but when it comes to supplementation, you want to, especially for the gut, you want to take it all at once, because if you just start with one, let's say you start with L-glutamine, right? And then you take that for a week, but you're not hitting all the levels. So you have to hit acid, enzymes, all of it all at once, and then your gut can fully heal, but if you're only hitting one thing and you're like, oh, well, enzymes don't work. Yeah, but you also have to hit all the other levels for that to function optimally. But I would say when it comes to leaky gut, I would say colostrum is a great one to start with. You can start with L-glutamine as well, collagen, things like that. I wouldn't take probiotics until the last stage, and most people take it at the first stage, because bacterias thrive, or bad bacterias thrive in the environment of your gut. So you have to change your environment first before working with your bacterias, because let's say that you don't change the environment and you're just putting more bacterias in, it could be feeding the other bacterias, or it could be, you still have a house for the bad bacteria. So then you're just putting more bacterias into a swamp of bad bacteria. So you have to break down the biofilm, you have to break down their actual house, you have to make sure there's no more leaky gut. There's many things you have to do with the gut before you just throw in probiotics. So that's the last thing that I would put in. But I would focus on colostrum, L-glutamine, collagen, things like that, and just really focus on repairing the lining first. When it comes to other supplements, it's very nuanced, obviously, for every single person, and I think there are the normal ones, which are magnesiums and vitamin D's and stuff. But specifically for Mexico City, I would say the binders are really important. So
any really polluted area.
Any polluted area, anywhere you are, any city pretty much, or anywhere, taking binders on a daily basis is really helpful with a lot of water. Also, one of the biggest things that I've seen change a lot of clients is just putting high quality electrolytes in water. And I know it sounds very simple, but putting salt or electrolytes in your water when you're drinking it, our water is so filtered now. It's either overly filtered or it needs to be filtered. So, and they take out all of the natural minerals that come with water. And so that's why you always see me drinking mineral water, as I am right now. Because they take out the natural essence of the water, and that what happens is then your body can't absorb it because you need electrolytes and salts to actually absorb water. So then we're all drinking water, but it's actually not being absorbed, and then we feel tired and we feel more thirsty and we feel this, and that's just because we're not actually hydrating at all. So you could drink this whole thing, this whole big thing that you have over here, but if it doesn't have the minerals and salts for your body to absorb it, you're just you're actually depleting your minerals more because you're kind of washing them out.
Wow.
Yeah. So I would say, to wrap it up, mineral, like the supplements, I would say minerals. I would say like some binders, take them away from medications always. I would say obviously the magnesiums and the vitamin Ds are great. A methylated B vitamin is so helpful. A lot of people have the inability to methylate vitamins. It's a whole other thing, but a methylated B vitamin is really important. And then I would say, work on your leaky gut, so L-glutamine, cholesterol, things like that. But I don't like giving supplement recommendations because everyone needs different things.
Yeah.
And so I usually am not a generalist with that. But those are things you can kind of add in to feel better in the short term.
Yeah. And I will link to all of these things. I'll get Tess's recommendations and put it in the show notes for everyone so you don't have to remember everything.
Yes, of course.
So what are you've already talked about some of your client results, but what are some of like your favorite stories of clients that you've helped kind of heal their guts, but also their brains at the same time?
Yeah. So I work specifically with, for some reason this has become my practice, is men between 40 to 70 really, who have basically been stressed their whole life, drink a lot of alcohol, like it's businessmen, right? And so I've basically seen so many men that have destroyed their bodies because of stress, because of work, because of alcohol, smoking, all of this stuff, all the normal things. And so that's who I work with a lot. And I mean, I've had some really fun stories. One of my favorite clients, he he's like a head of a bank in Mexico here, and he's a director, and I helped him. He was just basically not eating all day, thinking fasting is, helpful for him. We're running off 8 espressos all morning.
Oh my God, it's like a hole in his stomach.
And he was like, I don't have an energy issue, I just want to lose weight. I was like, what would happen if we
you don't have an energy issue,
if we didn't have 8 espressos a day? What would happen? And so what we did is we worked on his glucose, we worked on his gut, we worked on his energy, we worked on his testosterone. And so now I got him down to 1 to 2 espressos a day, but not because he needs it, just because he really enjoys it. But he sent me a message. He's like, have you seen the movie Limitless? It's like, this is how I feel. He's like, I finally am not crashing anymore after, because after 8 coffee, you basically, when you're drinking coffee to get through the day, even though you feel like you're highly productive, coffee is just such a depletion mechanism. It depletes all your minerals, it depletes all your stuff. So it's just taking. And a lot of times we think that we just need coffee, but your body can produce that same amount of energy. You just need to give it what it needs. So we get so reliant on coffee, then we increase. And that for our nervous system plus fasting plus stress, it's just like, I see so much HPA axis issues, which is like your adrenals and stress. And it's just, I have one client right now who I'm working with who's like really in that right now. And we're trying to figure out what is the cause of this burnout pretty much. And so that's the one where he was saying that I'm better than steroids. My one client who's 70, maybe 76, we worked for like 2 months, and he went back to his doctor, and his doctor was like, I have never seen blood tests this good for a 70, like for your age.
Wow.
Because we basically got like all of his cholesterol markers and everything back under wraps. And so a lot of amazing stories with the efficiency. Like what I'm most proud of with my practice is that I'm not someone that goes, we're gonna have to do this for 6 months and blah, blah, blah. I'm really efficient, and I'm such a nerd of the body, and I just go in there and I'm like, okay, what is causing this? Like my friend, this is really important for your female listeners. She has endometriosis, and she went to a very early stage, but she has the one where it's on the, like in between the ovaries and the gut lining. Okay. And so they put her on progesterone, they put her on like the pill, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, I'm going to try this. And I was like, I really think it's leaky gut. Like, I really think it's not your ovaries. Like, I think, and she's like, okay, but let me try this other thing. So she tried it for 2 months. She's having really, really bad pain still. It's getting worse, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, babe, you've had SIBO before. Like, I really think this is, and I've helped her with the SIBO. I'm like, I really think this is damage. And so she's like, okay, fine. And so 3 weeks ago, I put her on this protocol. And then, and last week I was like, well, how are you? And she's like, the pain is gone.
Oh my God.
And it's because what happens is we don't look at the entire body. Your ovaries and your gut lining are next to each other. That's why you have you have to go to the bathroom more when near your period cycle. Yeah. And so what frustrates me is we don't look at like, okay, maybe it's not your ovaries, it's attached to another part of your system that also causes inflammation. And so, or like estrogen dominance, a lot of women with PCOS or estrogen or endometriosis have estrogen dominance because their liver is so congested that they can't process their estrogen anymore. That's where we literally detox our estrogen. So it just builds up, and then that causes overgrowth in our lining. So it's just stuff like that I think for me it's really important that I figure out, because nobody else will. Not nobody else. I mean, there are a lot of people that figure these out, but I'm saying like they go through all of these things. I make it my goal to learn. We need to figure out what it is, and thinking about all of the different systems that it could be, not just the one or the two, not just the gut, but like what else could be happening,
especially with the medical system and women in general. Like, we've been ignored for all of history. So
and putting us on birth control seems to be the only way,
like the answer to every problem. Like, how can injecting ourselves with hormones be the answer to every health issue that women face? This this seems like the laziest shit ever.
And I have many female clients that come to me and they were on birth control really young, and they have a lot of liver issues, and they have a lot of basically like their body stopped producing progesterone and things like this, so it's very low. So there's like this kind of imbalance. But you have to really care, to get to those levels where you're trying to figure it out. Like, I spent all morning this morning trying to figure out the HPA axis of this client, and it's just because I truly care about figuring out what it is, and I will keep going until I figure it out, because I can't let it go. I get so nerdy about it.
But I feel like for you, it's also like a moral thing, right? Because you're like, it's like you feel like it's my duty. Like, yes, I love this stuff and it's so interesting, but also you're like, no, I'm doing this like for my clients. It's like my moral obligation to help them, because I know like the medical establishment has failed us in many ways, and like big ag and the food industry and everything. So it's like, you're like, no, like this is why I'm learning all this knowledge, just so I can help other people.
Yeah, and this one client, he went to his endocrinologist, and basically she's like, no, you're fine. And he's having really bad issues where when he works out, he literally can't, like the next day he's having delayed stress, which is where you're like exhausted the next day, like your entire body can't handle stress. And you go to the endocrinologist, like, well, your numbers look fine, but it's, or they literally said this one metric doesn't matter. They're like, usually we don't even test it. And he's literally having all the symptoms of like HPA axis dysfunction and burnout. And so it's more, I think there's a big frustration, of course, and this is not one to get into, but with like putting GLP-1s on everything, and just like putting these new medications on top of metabolisms in bodies that are just not working.
They're broken. But I feel like that's what society does in so many ways. Like, we're always treating the symptoms and not the cause. We're consistently putting band-aids on everything, on the problem, instead of fixing the problem itself. I'm just thinking of a Mexico City example with like the women's car in the subway. It's like, how about we teach our men not to sexually assault women instead of just putting all the women in a different car? You know what I mean? It's like the same. It's the same thing.
Such a thing, and it really frustrates me about the health of the world, but mostly the US, and I have this discussion all the time, because they're like, what do you think of peptides? I'm like, I have no problem. I do have a problem with peptides just because of the things I'm hearing, but it's not about the peptides. It's the fact that we have created a solution, in air quotes, to a problem that we caused. and it's just like, hey, how about we stop causing the problem? And
then adding more shit to the system.
Instead of making $1 trillion off a peptide that is also causing people to have diabetes, to have liver failure, to have kidney failure, to lose eyesight. Like, what if we tried something else, you know? So
no, because then they wouldn't make as much money, obviously.
of course. Of course. Why
so
we
fucking
wouldn't
terrible.
want to hurt the margins. The
Jesus
margins are
Christ.
really important.
No,
So
let's just keep killing people and
I
making
think,
money.
yeah, I think at the end of the day, for me, it's like the more that I can do to give people their power back over their body and help them to reconnect, because the biggest problem that I see is our disconnection with our body. And people say that a lot, but it's so crazy to see how many people overlook what their body's telling them. And I've had clients for 20 years who basically overrode their body and what their body was telling them, and then they ended up in this really horrible burnout state. And it's because for 20 years their body was telling them, hey, I need to rest, I need to whatever, and they were just stuck in this loop of, you know, needing to work harder and everyone telling them to work harder and like no sleep and, you know, eating and blah 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 and working out all the time and literally not listening to their body one time until they get sick or whatever. And then they end up and they're like, well, why am I not getting better super quickly? I was like, for 14 years, you didn't listen to, this is like a very specific person I'm working with, like for 14 years, you didn't listen to your body. So it's going to take you potentially 2 years for your body to recover from that, because you basically overrode. And then if I leave you guys with anything, it's like, do not override your body. It will tell you are not lazy. Your body needs rest. Your body needs repair. It has to be a balance. And like, I have seen it on the other side. Every single person that comes to me is on the other side of that, where, you know, now you literally can't, their entire nervous system doesn't work anymore. They can't produce the cortisol anymore. They can't lose weight because their body feels so unsafe that when your body feels unsafe, you can't heal anymore. And so, or the other thing is staying in really toxic situations or toxic relationships. Like if you are trying to lose weight or heal your body, but you're in a relationship or something that is really impacting you, it is impossible. You will be fighting it for forever, because until your nervous system feels safe, none of the stuff that I just talked about will actually work. And a lot of the work I'm doing now is like trying to get people to understand the connection between their nervous system being consistently feeling unsafe and their bloating and their testosterone and their weight gain. And it's a very hard thing for people, because they're like, no, but I'm just going to exercise more. No, your body needs to feel safe. Yeah. And every single thing that you're doing to make it feel unsafe is working against the healing mechanisms that you're doing. So you could be doing everything right, but you're in a toxic relationship, and I'm sorry, but your body will not heal. Yeah. It won't. It just won't. And I've seen it or a toxic relationship with yourself, where you're overriding it every day and being like, no, I have to work and not sleep, and and if your body doesn't feel safe, it won't do what you want it to do.
What would you suggest people do to get to a place where their body feels safer?
I just came back from Vipassana,
so
I love this. So Vipassana really showed me like the true issue is this disconnect, right? So it's just a disconnect of listening. Like I really think we try all these breathwork exercises and all meditations, and it's amazing, and we should all do that. But at the end of the day, it's literally just saying, my body is reacting to something right now. Yeah. What is it? And like sitting with it and saying, why am I anxious? Why do I feel fearful? Or why do I feel stressed? Or just sitting with it and listening. You don't even have to change it, but just listen to it. And I think this disconnect it's so simple. It's just we don't listen to our bodies anymore. So of course, if someone is not listening to you your entire life, would you feel safe with that person? Yeah. No. So of course we have to just give the space to feel emotions, to look at emotions, to name emotions, to release emotions, to get out of toxic situations. And a lot of times we can't, but I think the first thing you can do is just sit with your body. You don't even have to meditate. You just sit and just listen. Yeah. And even do like a body scan. Just a body scan. Yeah. This is what I say to my clients. 5-minute body scan where you're just sitting there, okay, head to toe. What am I feeling? Where is it? Is it heaviness? Is it anxiety? What is it? If you want to breathe into it, perfect.
Yeah.
But like just seeing it, just head to toe, like go through every part of your body. And I have actually a free one that you can, if you want to, like on my link tree, I'll put it up there.
Okay, perfect.
Just 5 minutes, and you just go through your body and you say, where am I holding stress? Where is the heaviness? Where is the tension? And then you don't even need to know where it comes from, but just like feel it.
Yeah.
You have to sit with it. Because
you have to learn how to get in tune with your body, so that you can continue to listen to it, because people are so disconnected, they don't even know how to pinpoint a feeling, which is crazy.
Which is why Vipassana is incredible, because you're really labeling, you're like pinpointing it, labeling it, releasing it, giving it love. Like it's a whole process, but it's a very simple process that it's easier to avoid, for sure.
Oh yeah, like anything worth doing. Sometimes people are like, I would love to start a business, but that seems really hard, so I'm just gonna keep working at this job that I fucking hate. It's like the same. We're just like, no, that seems like too much change for me.
And I try to make it as simple as possible for my clients, because obviously health is so overcomplicated these days. Do ice baths and cold showers and blah, blah, blah. It's just. No, we really just have to get back into our bodies, feel what's going on. You will feel, this is what I tell everyone. What I do is I take people back to a new baseline. So right now you feel like crap. I'm going to bring you back to a baseline where you feel good. And then from there, I'm not going to give you a diet. You are going to do your life. Yeah. And see how you feel when you drink. And then normally they'll tell me, oh my God, I never want to drink again, because now I felt so good, and then I drank, and then now I'm back to this place where I feel like crap again. But they have their, they can just go back to what they were doing and they'll feel good again. But it's like, they always tell me, oh, I had a cheat day. Not even a cheat day. I hate cheat days. More like I just ate this stuff and I drank and whatever. And they're like, oh, Tess, wow, I really felt bad. And I was like, well, is that how you used to feel every day? And they were like, yeah. I'm like, well,
now you get to choose to feel like that once a month if you want to, instead of feeling like it every day.
And now you can choose, and now you have a new baseline of feeling, so you have to feel into it. So I empower them to be like, you make a decision. Yeah. I'm not making a decision. You can feel like this, or you can feel like this. That's your decision now. But I
give them like a taste of the other side.
Yeah,
like, I gave you. Go back.
I gave you the other side. It's your choice now to continue with the other side, or go back to feeling like crap again. But there's something so powerful about the first 2 weeks of my coaching, because I get them to the other side. And then, motivation and things. So then they'll start, trying to eat things or whatever. And they'll just be like, wow, I feel... Then they don't remember how they felt a few weeks ago. And then they remember. And I always tell them, like, this is not bad. I just want you to pay attention when this happens and say, this is how I used to feel. And I don't not want to feel this anymore. And so that builds its own motivation. Because then you're like... Yeah, it's like me eating the yogurt and having...
Oh, yeah, the reaction.
Yeah, the reaction in 10 seconds. Like, okay, well, that's not working, so we're not going to do that again. Yeah. And then I just don't want to eat it.
Yeah, I love that. It's like you're helping them build their own, like, intrinsic motivation.
Yes, or intrinsic trust.
Yeah.
We stop trusting our bodies. We stop trusting ourselves because of all of the narratives outside. Oh, you should do this diet. You should do this thing. You should... be vegan or be keto or only do this, or we're hearing so many things, and your body knows. Yeah. Your body, you just don't listen to it. Your body knows when things are not correct. It's just we don't listen. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This is all such great information. If somebody wants to learn more about you or to work with you, where can they find you online?
The best is Instagram, and you can go on my profile to my link tree, and then you can see my website. I have a gut lining fix protocol that the one that I was saying, and I try to make it super affordable for everyone. I have a 14-day system flush, which is for your liver and gut, which I just ran with a group, which was really fun. So that's there. And then I have, if you want to do a consult, I have free 30-minute consults, and I can do that evaluation that I was talking about at the beginning. So if you want to just have the evaluation, I always do that for free for anyone that's interested, because I want you to have like the tools that you need. So we can see what's going on underneath and see if I can help you. But all of that is, I can do that for free, and the somatic will be there as well. So you can just click the link tree and you'll see pretty much everything that's there.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. So fun.
And thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you on the next one. Ciao.